They don't.
Why, hello everybody. It's Robbie from Southern California. June 1st, the month of my birthday. I'm going to be honest with you. I was sitting here with my camera. I take my camera out in the morning when I have coffee on Gary's truck tailgate. And I wasn't going to do a garden tour today. But you know, I thought it's not fair because I know there's so many that wait to see how the garden is changing. And I was just going to wait a few days. We live in the area where there's a lot of chaos going on. And I know you all know because it's happening all over the United States. And I really don't want to get into that. But the only thing I will say is my parents and my brother and his family live 4 houses away. 4 houses away from when it all started in the area by the Grove. I was actually on the phone with her, my mom, when it started. And so it's been really hard dealing with that and dealing with them. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to just do a walkthrough, and I might touch on a few things. I know I usually walk through and I give you all kinds of tips and stuff, and I might still a little bit. And I'll come back. Don't worry. In 2 weeks, you're going to see, look at the lizard. You're going to see a whole lot more. And I've got a lot of videos I was going to put up on how I make my plants super big. And that's really worth getting into. I have a video ready to go up, but I didn't finish it and I didn't upload it with everything going on. I even had my computer running slow because I think everybody was online who was trying to watch the news from all over the United States. Gary and I even thought about taking a ride. We had gone to my parents, actually, to visit them last Wednesday. And that's something. Here I have my squash growing. This is the driveway garden that I just set up. And look how amazing it is. We decided to take a trip. Look at this, spaghetti squash. No, I think that's delicata in there. Yep, it's delicata. Delicata has silver leaves. It's a type of squash, really good. Bakes up like sweet potato. I knew we had decided to take a trip out to see them all. So I had 3 days to take a zucchini that was really, really small. And he likes big zucchinis because he slices them up and he barbecues them. So I took a little zucchini that size, and in 3 days I made it massive. I'll show you, because I knew my brother liked it that way, and he's like, well, I've seen bigger. I said, yeah, but that took me 3 days to get it that size because we knew we were coming. So I fed it my super duper food that I feed my plants. And he got it, and it's beautiful. So we went out there and gave that to him, and I need to get that up too on what I do, and anybody could do it. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and the plants love it. So we took a ride and sat with my parents in the yard, all of us, of course, 6 feet apart, masked up. And even my sister-in-law said, well, hug your mom, you haven't been anywhere. But you know what? And my dad, of course. I still get home delivery, and these days you just don't know. So I decided not to. It was probably better to get as close as we can, bring them things. I brought her food. I bought her some stuff she really, really likes. She likes tiny tot sardines, so we brought her that because they couldn't find it in LA. The stores didn't have them. I don't know why, but I found some. And then she liked Heinz baked beans with tomato sauce. Vegetarian baked beans. Well, I found that, so we brought her that. For some reason, there was kind of a difficult time on finding that. So we kind of did the trip. I'm literally just walking through, so you'll see how it's changed. And this is onions now going to flower, and I'm going to collect the seeds. These were new onions we bought, and they really should not have gone to flower, which means that's why they didn't grow good. They were probably old storage onions, and instead of growing onions, they went into flower, which is okay. I'm going to grow my own onions. See how I hook up my tomatoes sometimes? Masking tape, one tomato. It's just a leaf. Worse, I'm going to lose. Listen. That's the birds feeding their babies behind me on the house. Isn't that cool? It's just a leaf. Worse comes worse, I lose a leaf, but it's holding the plant up and it redirects the plant. So taping on tomato plants, leaf to leaf, is good to redirect plants. Look at the basil. I'm amazed at. This was so tiny, and I grew this from seed. It is gorgeous in this little container. It's why you don't need a lot of room. And I've got more than basil in there. I've got lettuce. Look at my lettuce. I've got sage. I've got celery. We always have celery. More lettuce coming up, and then thyme. Oh, an experiment I'm working with. Not really pleased yet. Give it a few more days and decide if it really worked or not. I'm going to say no. And that's the one thing you do know that I like to do is when let's keep walking. I'm going to walk to the front yard. You know that when I put up a video on things I've done, I like showing the results as much as I can. I know we all can't always do that, and we can show it, but we didn't film it or didn't have it on video, the results. But I really try to show you the results so this way you can see that's the way it's going to end up. And that I'm working with some carrots. It didn't quite work so far the way I wanted, but keep in mind, any of you growing carrots are not radishes. Look at this. This really needs to be moved. It's too small. That's supposed to be a broccoli plant. I think it's a broccolini. Carrots take much longer to germinate and come up. Radishes literally come up in like 3-4 days. You've got radishes growing. So I'm not sure yet if that experiment worked, but if it worked, I will let you know. And if it didn't work, I'll probably let you know too what I tried. Let's see, my blueberries, I picked a blueberry the other day and I cut it in half, and Gary and I shared a blueberry. Have not planted in here yet, just been throwing all kinds of trash and paper and garbage in there, and that's going to be zucchini. You will see zucchini in that probably in 2 weeks because I'm going to make that plant grow. And this is that beautiful Swiss chard that looks like elephant ears. Now it's gone to seed. So I'm going to leave that one. I love composting seed. Let me swing you around. The seed heads, when I put that on the bottom of a tote, you think of how rich these are. Nutrients. I mean, think of how much it's got to have to develop the seeds. When I compost this, the plants go wild. So don't forget, if you're cutting that off, do not ever throw that away. Make sure you compost it. I don't even know what kind of squash that was. I can't remember. I need to start logging more things in, and that's one thing I am really bad at. I'm always thinking I'm going to remember, and I don't. But I did plant a couple things, and some stuff came up from the compost I dumped in here. So I do need to clean this up a little bit. That's just a swimming pool with some holes on the bottom. I don't know if Gary will end up taking that. There was one over there, and he took that one early in the year, or maybe it was during the fall. He may end up taking this one. We'll see. But right now, that's in a container. And then look at the mint. Wow, that mint has taken off. This is chocolate mint. So that is fabulous. And that's basically it. Let's see, I've got a little water feature. No big deal. Literally a bucket and a chip dip. Look at that. And there's the pump. See, that's how it works. Needs a little cleaning. They get algae. No big deal. Algae's natural. But just clean that up, and this is nothing to it. I plan on getting a whole lot more solar fountain things together. I had so many plans this weekend. I was putting up so much stuff, and then everything came to a standstill. Oh, cool. These little succulent plants are going to have more flowers. The hummingbirds love it. I didn't plant that. That came with the house, and I left it. And look at the flowers that are going to come up. And this is the blueberry plant that had a ripe blueberry the other day, and I didn't get a video, I don't think. But Gary and I split it. Yeah, I split it in half and said, look, that's our dessert for dinner. My daughter gave me a pumpkin she grew from seed. Told her I don't want a pumpkin. I don't like regular jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. She said I have to grow it. She grew it last year, and the leftover one she didn't use for Halloween, she split them, baked them. She said the dogs loved them. And that's true. Dogs love pumpkin. This I planted. This is zucchini. So I'm going to have a lot of zucchini growing. That's just some red bean sorrel. That's amazing because that's all grown here from seed. See the seed heads? It's throwing more seed. Had them for years, and they didn't seed. The one in the main yard, and then now they're seeding, so that's really cool. See, you always know when a squash plant is going to leave. It's got tentacles. You see tentacles? You see those curly things? They're leaving. That's when I think, oh no, it's going to take over the yard. Zucchini, they don't get tentacles. See, the flowers are just starting down there. I just planted these just a couple weeks ago. See, the flowers are just starting down there. Because they don't leave, it kind of unwinds. They grow flowers and more flowers and more flowers, and the vegetables keep growing on the ends, and the plant gets longer. Those, your runners, they leave. They literally will leave the yard. So let's see. Like I said, I'm really kind of off my game today because I've been not getting a lot of sleep. I've been watching a lot of TV. I've been talking to my parents. I've been talking to my brother, my sister, my brother. We were almost going to go take a ride, but then we thought we don't want to be in the middle of all that going on, even if it's the next day to take videos. I really didn't want to, but he did. I told him get in the car because he didn't even have to get in the car. He just had to walk out the door. Look at this. I wanted to show you, look at this. You want to catch roly-polies? I took this old radish and I stuck it in here and it's broke. See, the radish is broke and I put it in there and you can catch roly-polies that way. Then you can go, and they're now gone on the ground. Put this back in here. The roly-polies will come back. The radish or whatever you put in there has to be cut up because they don't eat through good radishes. But if it's cut, they'll come to it, they'll gravitate towards it, and then you can just pick it up and move it. Look at that, chamomile, and this is a little purple basil I planted. So that, and a little bit of dill is coming up there. This is doing really good. I was gonna pull the tomato plant out, but it's come back so nice that I might trim out all the old leaves and then let it do its thing and figure out how I'm gonna stake it up so it covers the door. Anyways, he did go out there and do some clips. If you're interested in the neighborhood I grew up in my whole life, I'll go ahead and I'll put a link to his clips. They're just little short clips. Him and my sister-in-law, they took a ride. Look at my ginger and my turmeric are just coming up. We've been still so cool that it's taken longer this year, it seems like, for the ginger to come up. It's still cool, but it is starting. See, they're starting all through here. I didn't even know over here I had some turmeric. Remember, turmeric's got the big leaves, and ginger, let's see, this is turmeric, this is black turmeric. Ginger's got the skinny leaves, so ginger is just starting. I think this is ginger. It's skinny, long, skinny leaves. Anyways, so my sister-in-law, oh, that was funny. She had gone to visit her mother out in the valley. Let's go in the main yard. Let me open the gate. I should have left it open. She had gone to visit her mother in the morning, and when everything started in LA by the Grove, they lived by the Grove, we had all told her to stay put. They said nobody on the streets. It was dangerous for her to try to come home with all the looting going on. And not that girl. That girl was not going to leave her golden retriever, who is really up there in age, has gone through chemotherapy. The amount of medication that dog's on, she was not going to not be there because the dog wasn't with her. A lot of times she takes a Belle with her, their golden retriever, but she didn't. It was home with, with my parents and Leonard. Well, Leonard lives in a different place just next door to my mom. But and the kids, her kids, they were all home, but she wasn't. And with all this going on, I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she drove through that crowd, but somehow she drove through the crowd and got home to be, she'll say, with her family. But I'm going to tell you, I think it was to make sure she was home with Belle, her golden retriever, because they put so much time and effort. It's amazing that dog's alive. A dog came down with cancer. They've put it through radiation, but the dog's doing good. So I got to see Belle also, and I went there the other day. She's older now, really older, but she's doing good. All right, so this is the garden. That's, like I said, it's not going to be a regular garden tour. I just want you to see I am been, cleaning things up. I am changing things. This is all kinds of squash. And yes, it's running. Something ate the end there, but it's still going to grow some stuff. And keep in mind, anything I don't want, if it's running to a point, like these are all running out, if I don't want them, I can always compost them, pull them out, compost them, and put zucchini or something else in there. But I should have in here kabocha, which is a really cool squash that is so good to taste. You have to bake it, so it's not something I can slice up like zucchini and make bread out of, or pickles or different things, because I make pickles out of zucchini. You have to bake it, but it is sweet, and let's say when I'm making it, I got those dogs in my kitchen waiting there for it. They can smell it. It's sweet like sugar normally. So I've got kabocha going in here. I believe I've got spaghetti squash. And I'm not sure, I thought I planted delicata, but I don't see it. And delicata, you can tell, I showed you the leaves get silver to them. So we'll see what happens. Got a lot of stuff in there. All right. Started to plant some stuff in the ground. That's another type of squash. I don't know how well they'll do in the ground. And there it is. We'll get into that. That's how you make your plants big, perfectly free, right out of your yard. There's the purple tree colored I got last year on eBay. So it's getting there. We actually ate some the other day. It was really good. Little concern that the branch, the stalk of it is still very skinny. But what I'm going to do is keep an eye on it. And if anything happens to it, I'll start doing cuttings off of it. Because see, if you see that, it shouldn't be that way. It's real skinny and then it thickens up on the top. But if it doesn't build up, if that got too hard and it can't expand, it may stay really thin and then not grow right. But like I said, it's no loss because it's as soon as I top it, I'm waiting for it to get up above this. I'm going to top it and it will start sending out a lot of side shoots, and all those side branches will become another plant. So we'll see what happens with that right now, but I'm really, really pleased with it. That's all my dinosaur kale, and you know all my dinosaur kale is off the main plant that is now 5 years old. And yes, it looks bad, it's cracked, but you know what? I'm going to try to keep it alive, and let's see if it goes another year. Lemon verbena, let's swing over here. Then, of course, I haven't done anything here, but this is the wall you always see. We moved all this recently, and this is done really good. Look at the garlic chives. Look at that. And look at the walking onions. They're doing really good, and that's a bunch of cuttings. And I just put it in a pot and forget about it, and I can take out what I want later, whatever looks really good. And then just some little things there. There's my mushroom plant. I made something with that last night. Oh my gosh, with rice, it was so good. Let's keep going. And see, I can now walk through everything. That was a dove that just flew by. And that's what I like. I'm trying to keep it clear. So I planted some Malabar spinach back there, and I want to be able to walk through my garden. This is some tomatoes, just squished them in there, and even some of them were slices, and I've been pulling them out. They're all over the yard. Just pull them out. They transplant really easy, and move them around the yard. Look at this. Cool, the tomatoes are really taking off. Still not sure what I'm going to do with the purple sprouting broccoli. This is all one plant, and it's like all over, and it's on the ground, and we'll see as I get to it. Like I said, this week things have gotten really slow, but that's all right. I'll see what happens when I get to it, because no matter what, the leaves are great to eat. So right now I'm going to let it do its thing, but it's an awful big plant that doesn't really give you a whole lot. As far as purple sprouting broccoli, you only get a little bit on the top, and then that's the seed heads. It's all gone. The birds ate that. I want to cut that back. So I do leave a lot for the birds, but if I trim it and do some cuttings off of it, I should be able to create some new really cool plants. Here, I'll look over here real quick. Nothing going on here. Kitty's garden is still small. And oh no, yes, an avocado tree. I got to get that out. Should redo it. A lot of these are actually cuttings as well. And then this is lettuce. And what I should do is crumble this up and try to get this planted, because this is lettuce too. And lettuce to me is really important. I grow lots of lettuce now. And I like collecting my own seeds because that means it's used to my climate and my yard. Geraniums, aren't they gorgeous? So many of you said, hey, talk about your geraniums. You're right. You know, here in Southern California, geraniums, that's the red flower, the pink ones all through here, they're weeds. They grow. A branch drops, they grow. The seeds drop, they grow. So I started thinking about it. You're right. I would want something that I don't even have to think about. Look at that. The shade is still here, so those solar fountains here haven't gone off yet. But you are absolutely right. So I'm catering to them now, and now I'm putting them exactly where I want them. So I put some here, and it will fill out really pretty. This one trails this geranium, so this one's going to take off all over the ground, so I'll have to keep, check on that. Look at the mint. Isn't that gorgeous? This is chocolate mint. And then these don't, they bush up, so I'm going to take care of those. These are, yes, I did stick them in pots years ago. That one's in a pot, and that one goes all through there. And there's another purple tree collard. That one we bought at CPG, and it's doing really good too. The trunk on that one, if you can see that, is softer. It didn't get really hard, so I've got hope that that one will get thicker. And so we'll see what happens. Some tomatoes back there. Here's a piece of regular tree collard just put in a pot. And again, with geraniums on the bottom. Isn't that geranium pretty? I bought that just before the lockdown, the pandemic started. I saw that. It was a little plant. It was so pretty. The cuttings here, you just snap them off and stick them in the ground. I'll show you some if I remember when we get to the other side of the yard. And then again, I have not gotten to this. This was my project for the weekend, and I did not get to it. I want to clear this out and decide what I want to plant in here. Not everything will come out, but a lot of these seeds, they're going to be trimmed back and composted probably right in here. Got a tomato coming up there. So I want to get planted in there. Maybe I'll even put totes on top. I'm not sure. See, that's the nice thing. It's your garden. Make it the way you want. And then the pepinos, they're over here. They're doing really good. Look at the size of that. Look at that. Gary's been bringing them in. He's been eating them this color. When they're white, you use them like you would a cucumber. You can slice them up, eat them. They'd be like a cucumber. And then you can cook with them. You can fry them up with onions. When they turn yellow, they become like a melon. Then they're sweet. So I want to get more of those going, but Gary's got a lot. And then, of course, let's see, my tomatoes here. And uh-oh, something's missing. You know what it was? I had a flower pot in there full of walking onions. And when we went to see my mom, my dad, my brother, we just pulled the whole thing out and gave them the whole container. So this way there was no transplanting, and I'm going to put a new container in there, probably with walking onions. It's easy when you have to give somebody something, you just go yank the whole container out. Like if they wanted chocolate mint, I could just pick that up and give it to them. That's worked out really good. Now my sister wants some stuff, so we're going to get some stuff over to my sister. Even with my daughter, it's easy to just pick the whole container up when you've got it in a container. See, they're growing in containers. So you could just pull the container out and they just get the whole container, and then they can divide it the way they want. Here I haven't really done much. This is sweet potato. I was going to tear this all out and change things, but remember with sweet potato, the leaves are edible. So I decided I have to do more green drinks, and I should check and see how the sweet potatoes are doing. And I'll probably use that in my green drinks soon. More walking onions, see, in a floral pot. And then, of course, here I haven't done anything, but they're taken off. I told you 2 weeks ago I got to get this out. I have a lot of projects and not a lot getting done, but I shouldn't say that because I'm working on my deck garden. We've been working on the truck. You'll see that in a few minutes. So see, now it's just starting to burp. That is algae when you see it so dark like that. There's not much you could do. The only thing I could do is that I've done it with a wire brush, scrape it out. You would have to put bleach in there and scrub it. And then you end up with this gray looking thing. This is like a cement. And it comes right back. So what I do is just, when I take it out, everything off, I just wash it real good and just put it back. It's natural. If you go to a pond, you go to a lake, you're going to see algae. That's natural. That doesn't hurt anything. Let's see. Back here, see, this hasn't started yet. I have so many ideas and stuff on how to make stands now for the solar fountains, the small ones. We're now using a big one too. Everything's doing good. Here I'm going to put some more eggplant. This is the old eggplant. It's 2 years old at least. I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to plant some new eggplant in there with that one. I've already started it. I planted the seeds. They're beautiful. Maybe this week. Tree colored. Look at the tree color. This thing is massive. And I do have some purple ones spotted around. I'm not even sure where they are. Let's see if we can find them. I'm trying to remember. I'm spotting them around. I'll see them when they come up. See back here? That's a purple tree colored back there. So I don't want to block my view because I have a nice view here, but I also don't want to block out any of the plants. I don't want to shade too much. So I have to really think of where I want to put things that get that massive. I can top them, and I probably will top them next time. I don't want to top this one yet because there's so many cuttings I can get off of that. I mean, there's probably 50 plus plants I could get off of that one. Normally, when you're taking cuttings, oh, see, it just went on. Just now. The sun is just coming out, so it's just coming on. Normally, you would take the cuttings when they're smaller, not so thick, but it works. Gary's taken cuttings and put the whole big thick trunk in the ground, and it just takes off. Water it well in the beginning, and it will grow really, really good. All right, so let's keep going. I dismantled this. Now keep in mind, this did not break here. A lot of these were, it says Christmas stuff. Somebody threw this away in the trash, and it was already cracked. But just because it was cracked, it had small cracks on it. When I planted in this, gosh, over a year ago. It's still worth keeping, and I'm not going to throw that away. I'm going to take this thing, I'm going to back it up probably against a fence or something, and I might wrap it around with duct tape. I'm not throwing anything away yet. So it's a nice big one. It's still good. When you get yourself totes, if you're going to grow in totes, try to get the ones that are flexible. See, it's not thinner, it's a softer plastic. They really last forever. I mean, that one back there is about now 4 or 5 years old. The ones you saw in the front of my garden, those were about 5 years old. They just last. As long as you keep soil in them, they last. So, and if it's got a crack, you don't have to throw it away right away. It's not cardboard, it's not paper, it's not going to fall apart. It's just going to slowly split. And like I said, you can always wrap it with a rope. You could put it in another tote. That would be a waste. Back it up against something. If I didn't have all that there, I could have backed up the broken part, cracked part up to that just to hold it. It's really good. They last a long time. So like I said, that's an old one found in the trash. It's written up. And I'll see if I can get another year use out of it. Maybe even 2. I mean, look at these. These are old. Really old. I didn't even plant in this one yet. Look at the leaves in here. So they do last, as long as there's something in them. If you leave them in your yard dry, then no, they're going to crack and they'll dry out and they'll just break apart. But when they've got soil, the plastic will stay soft and it will last. And don't worry about plastic leaching. It doesn't leach until it's over about 140 to 160 degrees. Done the research on that. It's fine. We have far more things to worry about, breathing the air sometimes, than that. And so it's fine. With the problem, it got a bad rap. Look at this, the tomatoes. And that's in this little tiny one. Let's go through the gate. They got a bad rap for a while because people were taking water bottles and they were storing cases of water bottles in trunks of cars. Cars get close to 180 degrees in the trunks inside your car, and that's when the plastic will start to, it doesn't melt, but it really leaches into the water, and then people were drinking it, and literally, people were storing water bottles because they wanted to make sure they had water at any time, storing it in the trunks of their car for months on end. And I remember I talked to somebody, I said, you also store water bottles in the trunk of your car? And they said, yeah. I said, how long have they been in there? I don't know, 3, 4 months, but I have water when I need them. No. Cool, dry place, or at least outside or someplace, not in your car. That's not a good thing. So that's the only thing. Otherwise, this is fine. Absolutely perfectly fine. I've got to get planted in there. Same thing. The papayas are doing good there. And I wrap that around to keep anything from crawling up. They don't like the tool. You know that. Bottle brush. Oh, the birds love the bottle brush. And let's look here. Look at that. I've got papayas there. Look at that. Really didn't want to turn this into a garden tour. I just really wanted to kind of do a quick walkthrough. Going to have a ton of pomegranates, and I planted both of these plants from seed. From eating a pomegranate from my friend's house, I planted them, and they are from seed. Isn't that gorgeous? And this papaya, this one's taking off too now. And it's already got papaya. Yep. And then that's the big one. That one does, but it has a harder time in the winter, this one. Well, it did, because it gets a lot of cool air blowing on it, where the other two are more protected from the bottle brush. And I didn't even show you, that's the strawberry papaya. Hold on. That one got damaged from the cold this year. So Gary topped one of them, and he's been cutting them, and they're starting to grow back. So don't take them out if they got damaged by the weather, because they'll still come back. And this is that tree that all the birds are nesting. All the birds are nesting, and we've got the hawks nesting in them, the Cooper hawks, the wrens, the bush tits. Hummingbirds have been nesting in this massive tree. Everything's nesting in this tree. It's amazing. Let's walk over to the wall and let's wrap this up today, because it's early in the morning. I want to get in and call my mom and my brother and see how everybody's doing. I have not planted in this yet. As you can see, I've started planting in these very slowly. I've got thoughts of what I want to do, but I love this. And I want to talk about that another time. That is amazing. So I haven't done that. This came up from compost, so I'm not even sure what that is. It's what type of squash it is. Because I haven't really done too much here, I'm leaving it, but the moringa is coming back. We trimmed it down. And so we've got the leaves from that. And then this eggplant, oh my gosh. Now that it's the right season, look at this. I picked a dozen the other day, and I just sliced them up and fried them with some onions that we are growing. Gary loved them. He just absolutely, it's okay. I'm not real big in the eggplant, but he absolutely loved it. Look at that. I have no idea what type of eggplant it is because I didn't plant this. It came up from seed, and it just started growing. And in the winter, it throws these yellow ones, which means the plant's stressing in the cold weather. And I've been just throwing them in a bucket here. I'm going to compost them. They turn yellow right away. They don't even really go purple. But now that we're in the right weather for it, they're purple, and they're all over. They're purple and white. I don't know if it's a purebred plant or if it's a hybrid. But like I said, it came up from seed. Look at that. I have to be careful holding this because, touching them, they're spiky. They bite. So it's the part that holds the fruit through here. It gets really spiky. So you have to be careful. Some are more than others, like rosebush thorns, but they're really tiny. See, there's still a yellow one in there. I've got to get the yellow one out because the yellow one will hinder the plant from growing more. So you want to get those off. And the more you take off, the more the plant thinks it's not doing such a good job producing, so it will continue to produce more and more. That's why you don't want to leave a lot of your fruits, like your squash, really too long on certain plants like zucchini, because then they slow down in producing because they think they've been successful. So you want to trick them and think they haven't been successful. Hey, something came along. These are just coming up. Something came along and ate something, and so now you have to produce more. Isn't this cool? Almost ready. Oh, another video I wanted to do, and I'll have to get up exactly how I'm doing this. This has been great. We'll get into that hopefully this week. That was supposed to go up this weekend. So I'm pretty much done here, and I have that tote to grow in, and then I'll see which ones do good. A lot of this was pulled out of the truck bed when Gary and I tore it apart. And I'm not even sure what I was going to talk about geraniums. See how bad that looks? There's a little piece of geranium. That's a geranium. Let's see, where's the other one? Here's another one. See how bad it looks? That's a geranium. Okay, let's walk over here. So what, a month ago I put this in the ground? Maybe a little over a month ago. Look at this. That one's taking off. And then I put a little piece over there. So you just stick them in the ground. They don't even care what kind of soil they've got, and they just grow. And there's the truck bed. Amazing or what? Everything's gone. I still don't know what else I'm going to put in here. I want to plant some Korean melons. This is yellow squash, and then some of the little ones you see coming up. Some of it is Swiss chard, red Swiss chard, and then the other things coming up, I don't even know what they are. We didn't plant them. Even that little one over there, I didn't plant that. Now this I know is delicatus. See the leaf? It's silver. This type of squash, and look at all the flowers. That is a very silver leaf, and this one is this one might be a zucchini, but see how this one's leaving? I don't see tentacles. We'll have to see. So that one came up in a floral pot, so I told Gary just grab it. They're intertwined so much I don't want to try to take it apart because we have all this planting area, so we're going to plant a whole bunch more, but there it is. Doesn't it look different? That's the truck bed. And we can walk over to the bathtub real quick. And there's a pomegranate tree, another one I planted from seed. I don't think anything's running right now because there's absolutely no sun. It's early in the morning and it's in the shade. No, it's not running yet. Neither one. That one's starting to burp. This is duckweed. No, it's just not getting enough. I see it starting to burp. See the burp in that? Probably in another 5 minutes it will start running. This is all duckweed that Gary put in here, and the fish love it. And it grows like mad. It just takes over, and it does block the pump. So if you are planting something small, this is Gary's thing, then don't put duckweed in there. But I wrap this right now with tulle to try to keep the duckweed out, because the other day the duckweed got into the motor, which was no big deal. I just actually shook it out. But it looks like it's not in there, so it's fine. So it is probably just not enough sun right now. But that's it. And that one's still burp. Oh, that one, see, that one's up in the sun already. So that one is doing the burping thing until it starts. And that's pretty much it. What's been amazing is the hawks, the Cooper hawks that just raised babies. They've been coming in here and drinking and taking a bath in the bathtub. And I seen the hummingbird yesterday when I was wrapping that with tulle. The hummingbird came down on my head. He probably wanted to take a bath on the cement fountain block I made. And I've seen goldfinches in here, so the birds are using this one too. And I want to decorate this, get more plants and stuff around here. I had a nice floral pot here with some stuff, but the coyotes came in and they knocked it all over. And so it's got to be heavier stuff here. They're probably coming in too to have water along with the deer. Let's turn around over here. So that's basically it. And I can't get over how different the truck bed looks. And then the trees are doing pretty good. I've got the apple trees and then the nectarine tree, and there's the avocado tree that came up from seed. So they've been really, really good. So all in all, I think things are going good. I had hoped to have a lot more done. And, it was hard working on the driveway, and then now I'm back on the deck. I planted some stuff on the deck yesterday. I've been trying to figure out what I want to do on the deck. So I've got multiple gardens. And so I'm trying to jump from one garden to the next. This is a radish I had planted in the truck bed a while ago, and the radish went to seed. This is not a loss. I'm actually going to plant more radish in areas to go to seed. The flowers will be perfect for you to put in a salad. And the seed pods, this is unbelievable. The seed pods taste exactly like a radish. Oh my gosh. This is so good. I don't know why they don't sell them in the grocery stores. You get far more radish seeds, the pods, on a plant than you do one radish when you pull it. Look at this, hundreds and hundreds, and some of them fell down there. Let's try not to fall down the hill. They're all down there, and Gary said he grabs handfuls and eats them all day. And they are sweet, and they taste so good. If you've got any radishes that are going to seed, oh my gosh, snap some off and taste it. The flowers are really good too. Can you imagine having company over, having a party and making a big salad and putting flowers all over the top of your salad and then dropping those pods in there? You can chop them up or put them in whole, just cut off the ends. Maybe just cut the end off like you do with green beans or whatever and drop them in a salad. People will go, wow, what is that? It'd be your own radish seeds that you grew. So with that, I think I've done enough for today. I've done more than I planned. I really was coming out here to say no garden tour today, but I do have a whole lot more things that I do I'm going to pass along with you. So if you want to hit the bell, you'll get notified when I put it up, because I'm going to show you how I'm going to get a lot of these plants big. I don't know what ran in the bushes, but it was very big just now. Maybe there was a deer in there and I didn't know. It was really loud. But anyways, I'm going to show you exactly how I make a lot of my vegetables really big fast. The plants just take off and grow super fast. And I'm going to show you how I make my dippers. There's just so much. Literally, there's so much. And that's the problem. I start like 10 things at one time. So I've got to slow down and get that done. I did some solar ones recently because I am crazy about solar fountains. The birds love them and I love them. They're so much fun. So with that, I think I've done enough. If I seem a little off today, I haven't slept in about 3 days. I've been on the phone with my family because I've been very concerned and worried. And my mother, my father, my dad's a World War II vet. They've been anxious. Is that the word to say? Because literally out their door. My brother opened the door and they were out the door. And so it's scary. And I couldn't get in there. We were thinking of trying to, like I said, for Gary and I, we went last Wednesday, just before all this, but you really can't drive through that because you're only adding to a problem. So we decided there was nothing we could do anyway. So we stayed home and did our moral support by phone and texts, and that's basically it. And that's where my mind's been all weekend. So I'm sorry that I'm not so bubbly and that I, didn't do a full regular garden tour, but I think you got enough and an idea of what's going on. Somebody called down the block and she said, I've got a bunch of planter pots. I don't even know where they came from in my yard. You are welcome to them. But she too is not seeing anybody, so she said, I'll put them out front if you want them. They've been buried in the bushes. So she piled them out front, and Gary went running to get them. So that's why all that's there that wasn't there before. So he was really excited with that. I'm going to snatch a few for myself too. So with that, have a wonderful day. Be well, everybody. And I've got a whole lot more coming when it comes to growing things, when it comes to hummingbirds, when it comes to fountains. I've got to show you how I made my cement fountain that I still haven't gotten that video up. I don't think anybody in the world is doing it the way I do it. I don't even know where I came up with the idea, and it's just working so great. But I'll get everything up as soon as I can. Have a great day. Love you all. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye, everybody.